Welcome, everyone, to another session of Join the Chat, JTC. This is the place where every single voice matters, where your opinions are important, where you are empowered to express yourself. And we try to offer a free and an open space to speak and also to be heard. This is Join the Chat. You can join us on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment to all of our channels. Tonight, we have Joe, Kimmy, Andre. Unmute yourselves. Well, go on, everybody. Yeah. So everyone's on mute. Y'all can unmute yourselves. Good. So tonight we are speaking about the vaccine dilemma. So before we even get into who should take it, who shouldn't take it, what I want to start on is everywhere I go nowadays, everyone's just asking, have you taken the vaccine? Have you taken the vaccine? When is your second dose? And I almost feel like this whole vaccine thing should be treated like voting. And I want to have personal privacy to my voting candidate or who I voted for. And I just don't know. Is there anyone else expressing, experiencing this type of, I guess, just bombarding with the questions of, have you taken it? Have you taken it? With just the assumption that it has been taken. And then the next question is what brand? And that's not good enough. And then when's the second dose? And whatever. Am I the only one experiencing this? Tell me what your experience has been in this last few weeks.
Yeah. Oh, Kimmy, go ahead. I see you.
Hi. First of all, I miss you guys so much. It's such a blessing to be here. Yeah, no, you're not alone. Not only have I been bombarded, but I feel bullied by people. I feel like you can't even say, I'm a little scared. I'm a little je ne sais quoi. Everybody's just like, what? I don't want to die. Bop. Like, what do you mean you're scared? Like, aren't you scared to die? And I'm just like, can I have a few minutes, Alex Trebek? Like, just give me a second, but no, definitely. And
Speaking of dead.
I know. God rest his soul. Love him.
I'm feeling a little uncomfortable right now.
I feel very uncomfortable.
I agree with you. It's everywhere right now. I understand why it's everywhere. We're hopefully getting to this tail end of this pandemic, and I think that doesn't matter which side you're on, really. People just want this thing to go away, and I think people are hoping that vaccines are the answer.
What about you, Andre? Are you experiencing any of this vaccine questioning on a regular basis?
Yeah, on a daily basis, and get mixed reaction. There's some people not for it, and there's some people like, you can not wear a mask around when we go to people's houses and stuff. And then there's those who like, well, in order for the world to go back to normal, it's best if we all take it, and the longer we delay it, then the time is gonna be delayed. So, and then you have those who actually make it seem as if you're like germs, you're carrying it because you don't take it or you haven't taken the shot yet. So, or like you're behind. So yeah, make you feel uncomfortable at times. But
do you think that it's going to cause like segregation between people who got the vaccine and don't get the vaccine?
Already has.
Yeah, for sure.
Just in a small way, like before it become a big problem, you always see the small crack. And the small crack is, as I say, like when I go to people, I always say you're walking past someone in the supermarket aisle, they give you a look, they try to set themselves as if it's like they make it visible, they make it obvious. We already know we've been in a pandemic over a year now. So we already know about the social distance, but yet still, now it seems as if people want you to show it like, I'm scared of you, I want to be far. It's like they try to rub it inside of you, and then, so.
How do you mean? Can you touch on that more?
Where people like make it more visible that.
Yeah, like I think you said, like when you're in the grocery store, people are making it more visible that they don't want to be around you, like in that 6-foot bubble. I think you're saying, right?
Yeah. For a key example is, for example, I go to an aisle and I want to take up a pound of a flour, for example. If someone is already there, normally 2 of us can take up. Once they see you come and they start to see you, they literally pull away their cart to say like, okay, you pick up, I'll go. Since you already see me, I'll be the bigger person, and pull away. It's like, wait, why weren't we polite before COVID when we used to say good morning or good hi, how you doing? Or, what I mean? There was never that, but now all of a sudden, everyone is all of hospitality. No, you can go ahead. If you're going through a door, 2 of us going to the supermarket, it's like they'll obviously stop until you go ahead, like, okay, can you please go inside? The door is big enough for 2 of us. So I've seen that, or even going to a client house, and they literally will tell you to stop at the door, like a situation happened where the husband was downstairs. The wife didn't know I came back inside, so she was coming to talk to him. They're getting ready to leave. So she came without her mask. When she saw me at her door, I swear to God, she literally turned around and run upstairs. It's like, you swear she saw a gun or someone else. It's like, come on, lady, just a mask, But so I've seen that where make people kind of going a bit crazy. But
yeah, no, I agree with Andre, man. I've seen stuff like that too. Sometimes you're at these outdoor patios, right? And it's like outside on the patio, you're maskless. But then you have to go into this like outdoor, like let's say it's a chip wagon, right? So when you approach a chip wagon, now you have to mask up, and it's like because I'm stepping over this step, now I have to wear a mask. But as soon as I step over the step, I have to take it off, and it's okay for me to be out there, and you can come speak to me out here on the patio without a mask. But if I come in to order something, then I have to be masked up, and it's so contradictory sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that bothers me the most is like just like how hypocritical some situations are, like exactly like you're talking. I was wearing my mask at Costco, and it came down below my nose. I wear like one of those like neck scarves type things, and I always pull it up. And it came down. I had my earphones in, and I couldn't hear the lady asking me to pull it back up. And she's the one pushing the cart that says, "Please stay 6 feet away." But she's like standing right next to me, asking me to put my mask back on, and I look at her, and I look at her sign, and I look back at her, and I go, "Are you serious right now? Like, please, sir, put it on. It's the law." And I'm like, "Okay, it's not the law, but we can move on from this conversation. I'm just going to continue shopping. Like, have a nice day." And I don't want to like, people are just doing their job. They're stressed out too, and I get that. But I just think like we need to be critical thinkers in situations like this on both sides. Like you can't be on one side saying vaccines don't work, they're useless, and you can't be on the other side saying like you must take a vaccine. There has to be a mutual
Balance.
middle ground where, you know, it's best for you do it, you do what's best for you, no matter which side you sit on.
Well,
I don't think a lot of people are thinking like that, though. I think so many people are like really in their feelings and in their heads. I find that this has really negatively affected general mental health wellness with people. Like they're really crazy, you know? And you guys are lucky you guys had like fairly polite people. I've come across so much rudeness that I just want to take my hand and give somebody $1 or cough on them or something and be like, you know what? Take all my droplets all over you, you know, just for being so rude. Like, you know, at a local grocery store too, I experienced something. We were trying to just get a little thing of Rio fish, tuna, or whatever. And this dude literally like jumped back, like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know, wait your turn. Bop, bop, bop. I was like, are you okay? Wow, you know, 6 feet. And he was just so rude. I was like, calm down, you know, but it made me want to do something to him. You know what I mean? It was making me kind of gangsta. Or if I'm walking on the sidewalk and somebody literally stops themselves just to put on their mask and then walk by like, and I'm just like, excuse me.
But if I realize, you know, I mean, a lot of people been wanting this opportunity to do this distant thing long time, but the COVID is like it's so convenient to some people. So now they can allow to do their BS attitude. So they just be a police now with it. Yes, COVID. Can you please stay away, sir? Or don't come on this aisle. Or hear some of them say, I have a young baby in the car, so can you just stay? Like, okay. Or I'm with an old lady. Somebody say, I went to your house. Can I use your house? Your washroom upstairs? We're working in the basement. She's like, oh no, there's a lady upstairs who's like 85 years old. And this is the only one we use. I won't finish after. She's like, oh, it's just my mom. She's funny. Not even I use the washroom, you know. So it's just what it is. Sorry. Okay, no problem. No problem. You know, it's just a washroom.
I also think too. Oh, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead, Andre.
No, man. I know. I'm good. You can go ahead.
I also think people are using it as Tino's a huge Habs fan, so we actually, if it's the same Tino, we have a bet that if the Habs win, I have to wear a red shirt that says I'm wearing this for Tino, and I hope the Habs lose. But anyways, I think that not everyone, but some customer service oriented places use this as an excuse for their bad customer service. Like, oh, it's the pandemic. Like, we can't have these things. That's totally fine. Things might not be coming in, but like an email or a phone call, or, you know, we're still your clients, we're still your customers. And I think that the businesses that thrive in this situations are the ones that like adapted quickly. Like, this is the new way of the world. Like, our kids went to school, they're going to learn online. They're going to be doing their jobs online. If not, they're going to be doing manual labor stuff on site, but a lot of the jobs will not be on site anymore. And I think the people who will thrive are people that can really know how to talk to people. Like, you're going to miss that human element, and the kids who learn that and learn how to conversate with both sides of the fence are going to be the ones that really live and thrive through these situations.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you on that. The customer service bit. It seems almost when you go into these establishments, sometimes it's don't bother me, don't ask me any questions, get whatever you need to get, pay for it, and get out. Oh, but leave me a tip. You know, it's wild, you know. But hey, you know, hopefully things change. Hopefully people are able to get back to being cordial at some point, you know, but only time will tell.
I think like it made people nicer. Like, I think overall, like, no, we're more caring. Like, I'm more compassionate to people when I'm out shopping now. I'm very cognizant of like the fact that they're the guy or girl at Costco, or binary, non-gender, whatever they identify as. I'm old, so I apologize for classifying that or assuming someone's gender. But I think, like, I'm very aware that they're probably stressed. Do you know what I mean? Like, the person's probably worked 60 hours this week, have to deal with 20 people that don't want to wear their mask, and maybe they have a sick grandma at home that they just don't want to. They're trying not to kill them because that's what they believe is going to happen. Yeah. So I try to be very aware of that as I move forward, and like also too, like when I'm driving, you know, like I find my road rage has gone down a little bit, maybe because it hasn't been so much traffic. But usually when I used to drive all day in traffic, you're like, get out of my way, grandma. But then you realize, okay, she's 90. Like, slow down, Joe. Don't be such a jerk.
I find the opposite, man. I find people have been way more rude.
Really?
I feel people have been very opinionated, throwing whatever they want into the pot. That's just me. I'm not saying everyone is rude, but I've seen a lot of rudeness. A lot of people that, you know, before wouldn't have the audacity to come at you a certain way. Now they just, I think Andre was talking about it, but now it's just that free reign to be able to just say, yeah, I'm going to use this as an excuse to just do this or to do that. So I've experienced that. Even driving, I've found that a lot of people driving are less aware now. I've almost taken off people's doors because they just park on the side and, you know, then fling their doors open. It's like, no, you still got to shoulder check to make sure no bikes or no cars are coming, and then get out of the vehicle. But the road's not just yours, you know?
That's funny. No, I haven't noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm one of those people who every time I used to see people post pictures of their food online, you know, social media and all that, I was just like, you know, that's the way the food is supposed to be made. You know, I don't understand why you need to show a picture. Like, if I go and order the same thing, the restaurant's going to prepare it the same way. So
hopefully washed with lemon.
Or vinegar.
Definitely washed. So now I'm kind of having the similar sentiments to people who are posting their like vaccination certificates. Like there was some type of an accomplishment that they achieved by taking a needle. You know, before you went and got your booster shot, you didn't tell everybody in the world and come on social media and pose in front of a tree and just like, hey. You know, like, I never saw that before, but now I'm seeing it on an abundance, and I'm just like, what's going on? Like, am I supposed to like this picture? Should I comment on it? I don't know, but it's throwing me for a loop. Has anyone else seen anything like that?
I find it uncomfortable. I think it's really uncomfortable. Just like you said, like nobody was all up, like, check my booster, like, yay. They're taking these pictures. When we had to go get them things shoved up our noses, it's like no cameras, don't look, don't see, don't talk about it, don't touch nothing, you know? Because I wanted to vlog about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like we're in a movie. What is this place? Nobody's seeing nothing. All of a sudden, everybody allowed to take their selfies with their shots in. And I'm just like, this is so awkward. Like, I'm not liking this picture. I'm not feeling it. I'm not happy for you. I don't know. That's just me, you know? But dare you say anything and people are ready to go down your throat, you know? Like pretty much you're walking COVID, you're going to cause COVID. I'm saving my life and you're a poo head. Anyway. They're nuts. And I wouldn't like I'm not liking their picture. I'll still love you as a person, but I'm not liking it. I'm not loving it. I'm not sharing it. I'm not putting the little, ooh, good for you. Congratulations. Nah, bro. You ain't getting that from me. Sorry.
I just don't know what I'm congratulating people for. Like if they decided to take the vaccine, you know, I decided to take the vaccine. Do I need a round of applause? If what the media is saying is that this is what everyone has to do their part to save the world. So if you're just doing your part, do you need acknowledgement for that as well? Or is it just the fact that people are starving for attention because they haven't had anywhere to go or anything to do, so this is the only picture they can post?
No, I think that they're putting it out there for more of a reason, like to kind of show that, hey, I'm on that team. I'm free. I'm gonna be on a plane just now. And, you know, I'm going to be able to travel with no problems. And I don't got to worry about these things no more. But I think that they're showing that to the public and showing people to kind of be like, hey, you know, when are you going to get yours? This is socially acceptable.
Right. Mm-hmm. We got SEB in the comments here saying she agrees. Before, your medical records were a private matter. Now it's everywhere. Even your even your employer is asking you, when are you getting vaccinated? And that's a great segue into our other topic, because we have some companies out here that we know are enrolling their employees into getting the vaccine. They're not even asking their employees, just saying, hey, such and such a date, go ahead, go get it. What are your thoughts on that?
I'll jump in here. It's illegal. Like, it's straight up 100% illegal. Like, I understand how some places might feel they need to have vaccinations if you're heavily faced with the public, like if you're working in an old age home or you're in group homes or things like that. I get that, but like, this vaccine is not approved yet for regular use. So like, when we force people to take it, who's going to pay the repercussions if the people are just taking it for their job? And the people that are just taking it for their job, it's like, well, what if you quit or get fired and you took this not because you wanted to, but you did it for your employment? Then who's responsible after that? And that's where my biggest concern is, which ties in with the social media. Are people really making informed decisions, or are they being coerced into making these decisions? And Kimmy, you made up a great point that like I never even thought of. Like, when you go to the doctor, like, you can't just take pictures inside the medical room with the staff, but now that you're taking your vaccine, you can like take all these like photo ops. Like, it's nothing. I've never even thought of that. Like, I laughed when you said it, and it's scary. Like, I all my children are vaccinated. I'm not against vaccines in any way, shape, or form. My 15-year-old daughter has her first shot for the vaccine. But like, are we making the right decisions? And like, I don't want to segue away from what we're talking about, but like, when people use the argument, like, these people have your best interests in mind, like, let's look at all these residential schools that what's coming out with those. And that was the government having the people's best interests in mind. And I think you need to decide for yourself what keeps you safe and happy, not someone else doing that for you.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
But it's a perfect time because we're so encompassed with social media. It rules people's lives. It rules their moods. And I guess, this kind of reminds me of what happened with 9/11, right? With 9/11 happened, the towers went down, and it was all over all the time. Weapons of mass destruction. You know what I mean? War. We're going to do this. Terrorism. So in return, generally, the public just got kind of racist against all Muslim people. And they're like, okay, what are we doing? Like, how do we fight terrorism? Like, let's bomb. But they made that decision out of fear. And that was how many years ago? And we weren't even as engulfed in social media and the internet as we are today. So there's I have a black box. I don't know if that's bad for me to say. I don't even know if those things are legal, but whatever. And there's about 5 or 6 channels dedicated just to COVID. You know what I mean? COVID. Here are these numbers. These people are dead. These people are diagnosed. Here's the curve. Get ready for the new wave. I didn't even know the old wave finished. But it's constantly all over your head. Like, I don't even know what to think anymore, because I'm like, I'm not really up for sticking this stuff. I don't know what's in it. You're hearing all these stories about, side effects, and I'm not even comfortable with telling somebody that, hey, I would rather just wait a little bit and see what happens to people on a general basis. People are like, no, like, this is the answer. This is the cure. Do it so that you can live. I don't know if I'm going to turn into a dude the next day. I don't know how this thing is going to affect me.
So check it. So we've kind of come back to this educated, well-informed decision on whether to take it or whether not, right? Kimmy, you're talking about there's stations that are directed to just COVID.
Yes.
Right? So where would somebody go to get the information that they need to in order to be well-informed and well-educated to make the decision on A, whether to vaccine or not, what vaccination to take, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, whatever the case is. Like, how does somebody get informed?
Well, you can look on the government website. So they provide a list with all of the different options, and they give you like the ingredients of the vaccine and the advantages and the maybe disadvantages, like how they word it. And when you read it, it's just so funny. It would come in like you trying to explain to the masses about a particular sport, knowing just only a proportion of the masses watch that sport. So it's like, yeah, you explain it to them, but yeah, only a portion get it, but the others don't know, and they're just saying yes, no. Some just look away, not uninterested because they can't relate. So when I see them putting the information on the website about the vaccine, it's like, okay, how much of us know the scientific terms? There's some word with 26 letters of the alphabet. Then there's another one with 15, and there's another one with 18. And it's like P and Z, and it's like, okay, a lot of words. By the time I start to read, I feel uninterested. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's like you're leading someone in the dark, basically, to find something. Because we're hearing so much information coming at us, but none of us really understand those ingredients that being used. And when they say the effectiveness of a vaccine, you wonder you're not a doctor again. How do we know to validate it, to say, okay, then this is what works or this not work, or you know what I mean? So then again, they say also next one says it's good because it was this approved and that approved. But you have if this disease was one disease that caused such a impact on the world, where everyone was catching every country, I think there should have been one cure. You know what I mean? Like if it was that major of a disease, there should have been collective, everyone working together. But when you have varieties now, it coming like it's an NBA game you're watching. So you have a Allen Iverson shoes, a Kobe Bryant shoes, that shoes, because so 7 different vaccines. So how you guys find 7 different cures? And it's a one vaccine that was causing the problem worldwide. You know, so it's funny if sometimes people just take their time and, as you say, think for themselves instead of being led by the media or what a pro-vaccinated person want to say or what a pro. Think for yourself. You know, look at the pros and the cons. Read over information from last year, March, when the pandemic just started, when the World Health Organization was coming up with a lot of different restrictions, and they were telling us straight up back then, certain law, free will be not violated, but will so-called put on pause because there is a legal reason, which being the pandemic. So that's basically saying, okay, then with the pandemic being there, we can use it to justify whatever action we want to take and give up our rights. That was March last year. I was reading it on a website. Nothing changed 2021 June. The pandemic is still here. They're still making more choices behind the scene and justifying it with the pandemic. So at the end of the day, I just think people just need to just keep self-informed, keep self-evaluate, and just keep track from last year to this year in news and see what they're saying and try to tie the two together and see how it work out, you know. So
it was kind of interesting that when I asked where do you go to in order to get educated, the first thing that you said was the government websites. So I'm just tying into like what Joe was saying in terms of you can't fully trust the government or what the government's saying, or check the track record. They didn't always have the people's best interests at heart. But then it was interesting, Andre, that the first resource that you commented on was government websites. Kimmy, any intake on how does one get well informed and well educated about the vaccine? Where are sources and things that we could go to?
I don't even know, especially after this whole year. I don't know about other people, but I know a lot of people, because of the pandemic, rely on other substances to have gotten through this year, i.e. boxes of wine, i.e. a lot of ganja. You know what I mean? A lot of
I heard those gummies are on the rise.
What? Them edibles? These ganja stores, let me tell you who's rich. The vaccine people and anybody that produces liquor or ganja or cigarettes or, you know what I mean? Online gambling. Them people is laughing to the bank while we have been kind of dumbed down. Like, I can only speak for myself. I don't even know where to look. I looking up above to the Lord and asking him to guide me. That's where I start in my instruction manual, because at the end of the day, you put in your thing in Google, they're sending you other places. You look on YouTube, you have some people that are like, listen, man, this is the mark of the beast. There's alien people. There's all this crazy stuff. YouTube has its own rabbit hole. They're just like, whoa, that's a little too crazy for me. But everywhere is just, it's all madness, if you ask me. I've even asked myself, well, you know what? When I have the money to travel, my all expenses paid, I might get the joke. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want it, but I can't afford that plane trip today. So I ain't worried about it today. And I asked about my kids. And
but when you look on it, though,
so I'm not worried about it too much.
Just before you cut in, Andre, just want to acknowledge a comment. SCB is saying she 100% agrees with Kimmy. Cheryl Archer is talking about the mask makers are making a whole heap of money in this pandemic as well.
Yes, good point. Good point. Can you leave me alone?
Kimmy, before you chastise them, put yourself on mute.
All right. Sorry about that, guys.
Well, what you see with the government, when you ask you a question like that, you say where we can be informed about the vaccine. It's gonna be hard to say from a private institution. You're just going to Google and you see different media outlets posting it and stuff. Most of it is gonna be public related, so you're mostly gonna see it on the government website. Yes, you're going to probably have a few doctors who may give an intake on what like general terms or purpose of a vaccine is. You may find information on that sense. But in terms of the actual product and the vaccine that are regulated or approved by the government, you're mostly going to find it on a government website. Once you put it in the search engine, it automatically brings it to that website. We know a reason why. The reason when it's coming from a government website, remember the masses type in something, it's going to be so-called authentic because it's on the government website. Versus being on with the pandemic being a so-called divider or a tool that divide people where it can be mixed. You know, what's valid from what's not valid. It come like Wikipedia. Remember when Wikipedia was the thing, everybody like, yeah, I use Wikipedia. They're like, no, what's valid? Anyone can post on it. So I don't think they will allow private engines to actually provide maybe information on the particular as in-depth information like our government, because again, they want to show that it's valid. When people taking picture of the doctor, it look fun. They want to
do you not think that is problematic? If you're only getting one side of the coin and there's nobody who has an opposing opinion, so you're only getting one set of facts. You think that's not problematic?
Can I jump in, Andre?
Yeah.
So what I agree with Andre, and what I think he's saying is that when you're looking for the information, you go directly to the source. The government is the source that we need to rely on to give this information. When you read that information, though, you have to be able to depict the data that they're showing. And I'm gonna try this. We haven't done this before. I want to share my screen for a second and just give you an example. Can you see my screen?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Here it comes.
Yes, no.
Okay, so this is the Department of Justice, okay? Justice.gc.ca. Bill C-10 enacted to amend the Broadcasting Act to make consequential amendments to other acts. So this is the Department of Justice website. This bill was passed at 1:30 in the morning when everyone was sleeping. Now, even if you know where to find this and you have to read it, like look at these clauses. This is hard. Like I have a criminology degree and I have a police foundations degree, and it's hard for me to depict this information in here. Clause 11 would amend the commission's power to inquire, blah, blah, blah. Like all these things that even if you're smart enough to know where to look, they write it, you know, the word legalese comes to mind in certain language that it makes you hard to understand the words. So like it's important that you learn how to read properly and understand what different words and the meanings of those words. Like the English dialect is extremely difficult. And we were all talking about this. Andre was talking about this the other day when we were at Tim Hortons. One word can mean 7 different things. And when people are saying the choice of words, like these people have script writers who read it. Like Doug Ford is reading off a teleprompter. Like that, the old lady that was like, I don't even know I bring these papers. I just read what they tell me to bring. Do you know what I mean? So like all these little things that like you have to know where to look to do it. So like if you're going to take it, like Andre's saying, you want to look at the ingredients, well, you go to the site of Pfizer and see what the ingredients are. But people don't want to like, oh, this ingredient, what is this ingredient? I'm going to Google this exact ingredient and see what that is. Oh, it's this. Okay, it's not that bad. That's okay if it's in my body. Or what's this? Now, let's go away from vaccines. Like we should probably be doing that with our food as well. There's a lot of stuff in our food. Like I was giving my kids a candy and I was reading. I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what this word is. I have to search this thing up. You know, so like it is important to go to the source. Now, it doesn't mean trust the source, but it means, okay, this is what they're saying. Like, you know, even the PCR tests, you know, the rapid tests, they work. But then when you go to the source, the person who made the test, they're like, you know, these tests aren't that reliable, you know. So like when you do that type of research and then you find out like, why aren't we talking about this person, at least even to shut that person up, to prove them wrong. Like we should be talking to these types of people. And I think that's where, you know, people who are hesitant with their vaccines, that's where the hesitancy comes from. But I also understand that you can't just let everyone talk their nonsense. Like some people just have to be told to shut up because you're wrong, you know?
So it really sounds like everyone is saying, in order to get the information, go directly to the source, but don't just stop there. Once you get to the source, start extracting from the information you got from the source and try to find supplementary documents, information to either refute it or to support it. And then with that, hopefully you'll be able to garner enough information to have a well-informed decision. But again, it takes time. So if you're trying to do it in 30 seconds, probably not the best way of doing your research. So take your time, take your time, take your time. In order for it to be well-informed, you need to spend time with it. So that's what I hear everyone speaking about. Nathan Ware, we see you. I see your comments. I understand.
Thank you for joining, friend.
Listen, I want to know, have you guys heard about this whole deal with AstraZeneca being suspended in the UK? That came about earlier this week. There were some ill side effects, and so they decided just to suspend use of it for the time being until they can gather more information. Has anybody else heard anything about that?
Yeah, Seattle News on it, where they're saying it was banned for people under 30, I think. People under 30 are not allowed. It gives side effects to some people under the age of 30. So
you can still get it then.
Me? Yeah. No, not really. And then they also say it's not only like in the UK doctors that find it, also it's the EU doctors that find it also. So It was on a pause until further investigation.
So it's interesting. Once I heard that, then I started hearing these claims where certain shows and certain businesses were not allowing people to partake in their celebrations or their entertainment fields if they had the AstraZeneca. So they were told that your vaccination is not respected here, so you can't come to Saturday Night Live. You can't go to this place or that place. So, you know, it makes you wonder, like, I'm putting myself in those individuals' feet. So I went out, I got vaccinated. I was told to take the first thing that was given to me. That's the AstraZeneca. Now that I have the AstraZeneca, I'm supposed to be safe. And now people are telling me I'm not safe enough to come in to watch this show. And I just think that those people, like, they must feel like so jaded and so defeated in this time. Tell me what you think about that. Do you think companies have the right to ban people from coming into their establishments because they have a certain vaccine?
My question is, before you even go down that rabbit hole, is like, how do these companies know before we do?
How do the companies know what?
That the AstraZeneca vaccine isn't good enough for us to take and they can't come in the show?
Well, I think it came from the whole reports coming from the UK. So because of all of that, now it's just the AstraZeneca wasn't. Listen, me, I'm not a journalist. I'm not a newscaster. I'm just repeating it as best as I get it. But because it's being suspended and they want more tests on it, so they're basically taking anyone who's taken the AstraZeneca as basically not being vaccinated. That's how I'm understanding it. So because they're unvaccinated, so then they're not allowed to come to the show. They're only allowed to show if they have
I agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying, but like, what company is making that decision before the government's making that decision? The company is like, and where's the company getting that info?
So from
Where's
my
the company
understanding,
getting that information?
it was some of these entertainment fields. So I know Saturday Night Live was one of them. So for audience members who wanted to come in and watch the live taping, they were not going to be admitted if they had the AstraZeneca vaccine. And there's a few other companies out there are not, I shouldn't say companies, but I guess businesses or entertainment facets. So they
is
would.
That what the passport is? Is that what shows what vaccine you've had and when?
I think
like
that's
somebody get a card.
I think the passport is something a little bit deeper. So I'm not sure if when they go to these shows, if they have to announce what type of vaccine they had. I don't know if that's what's displayed on their certificate card. I'm not sure. But however it is, like Saturday Night Live is not allowing audience members to come into their studio if they've been vaccinated with the AstraZeneca.
I don't know. It makes me think back to what Joe was saying about like who's going to pay for the repercussions of any of the consequences that come from taking these vaccines. Like it's the exact same thing, just like not in their body, but socially, they thought they were doing the right thing. Oh, it doesn't get you the pass that you thought it did. Now what? Like now you might be at, a higher risk of these side effects because you did what you thought you were supposed to do. And that it's no guarantee for anything.
Yeah, we got Nathan Ware here. He's saying, can we talk about the fact that Canada bought this vaccine, the AstraZeneca, after the U.S. did not want it, pushed it, then backpedaled? The overall policy management around COVID-19 in Canada has been awful. I don't even know if what we need to talk about, Nathan. I think you said it all right there.
Yeah.
We have Noel Hems saying, and if none of the vaccines are approved, how do these businesses know what criteria the vaccine is supposed to reach? Or how do they really know this vaccine isn't fit for my business? And that's my question, right? So we talked about the employers just signing up their employees to go take the vaccine. And now we have companies who are, admitting or refusing participants to their businesses or serving people because of these vaccines. Do they have a right to make? I personally think they have a right to make a call for anything that they want. If that's their business and that's what they want to do, I think that they have a right to do that. Whatever repercussions come from their business, whether it's lack of support, lack of patronage, that's their business, right? Like they're going to lose that. But again, it's just one of those things where it's like this personal choice seems to be taken away from the individual, right? And it's just like, so now this company is telling me I can't come in. This person's telling me I can't work here anymore. And all I'm trying to do is stay healthy, right? All I'm trying to do is understand and do what everyone has told me to do. So I think the personal choice is just being sucked from people, whether it's fear mongering, whether it's being pressured from social media or government agencies. That's my take on it. I don't know if anyone has any comments to non-M's or on Nathan's point.
Yeah, I think like to touch on Nathan's point, I also think it's funny. I hate to say this, but like I saw something on TikTok, and it was Joe Biden saying like, we're donating 500 million vaccines of AstraZeneca. They haven't been approved, but we're gonna wait till they're approved before we donate them. It's like, man, like what are we doing? Like what are we really doing right now? Do we really care about people? Like, do we care about people? That's what I want to know. Do we really care what happens to these people that get these?
I really hope we do, right? I really hope at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, I really hope the care for the people is there, and I think it's going to show whether the care is there or wasn't there. But I'd love to hope that it's there. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're injecting children, mass number of people. I was actually looking at this word when they talk about efficacy, and it just wowed me that in order to get the efficacy numbers, some people are actually injected with the vaccine, and the other half are injected with a placebo. And then based on those results, they figure out the effectiveness of the vaccine. So I'm even wondering if some people out there didn't even really truly get the vaccine; they just got the placebo. You know what I mean?
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Send it.
You want the placebo?
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not a distributor. I'm not a distributor, man. I don't have any product.
You don't have a guy? Hook me up.
I don't have a guy, man. I don't have a guy. You know, because of the social distancing, I can't see too many people, so I only allow a certain amount of people in my house.
You'll be buying fake vaccine passports on the black market soon.
Oh man. Yo, listen. We're talking about the vaccine dilemma. I mean, I think this is a great conversation to have because people are just in so many different realms where this vaccine is concerned. You know, some people believe in it wholeheartedly. I know people with ailments, you know, sickle cell, certain other ailments, and they need it because if they were to get sick, then it's really going to affect them in a certain way. So, you know, them feeling that they have that protection, they're happy, they're satisfied, they're content, they feel safe. You know, other people are very skeptical of it as well, thinking that this is all just a hoax. You know, so it's just great to have these conversations out here. Again, you know, we're not speaking for or against. We're just speaking about end of the day. Inform yourself, educate yourself. Luke Hemke is saying, intuition is in all of us, down to my core. Something doesn't feel right about the vaccine agenda our government has chosen to employ. I, along with many others, would rather choose natural immunity. And there's so many people that feel that. You know, there's so many people that had COVID during this pandemic and believe that, you know, the natural antibodies are all that they need. They don't need another stick, you know? So
it's not a belief. That's science.
That's science.
That's science. Like that's the truth. And like to touch on Luke's point, like the biggest thing I hear about people, like I'm getting the vaccine because I want to travel, or I'm getting the vaccine so I protect other people. And like that's where my concern is. Like you shouldn't take the vaccine because of anything, but you want to protect your own health and life.
Right.
And that's how I truly believe. And if, you know, and that's there goes back to the point of like all the data and the numbers. Are the numbers true? You know, 2 weeks to flatten the curve turned into 18 months of isolation and locked up in your room. But were the numbers that we were basing that off of, when you look at the number of people who died, and this goes back to looking at the data that me and Andre were talking about. You go back and over 80% of the people that passed away were over 60 years old. And from that number, a bunch of them had health problems. So like, and I'm not discounting the people that pass away because, you know, that's people's lives. But did we fudge the numbers? Did doctors fudge the numbers? Okay, yes or no? Well, let's let the doctors talk that want to talk about it. Let's not silence the doctors, because there's doctors coming out now trying to speak up about it, and we're not showing that. Then this Bill C-10 comes in to silence and have total control of what's shown on Facebook or Instagram, and they can silence things out. And then you think of, okay, I'm going to put these things in my body that aren't healthy based off of numbers that aren't real. Like that's where my concerns are, you know, like it. And also too, like if you have a vaccine, you should be safe. That's the point of getting the vaccine. It shouldn't matter if I am like Delta variant, like whatever variant you're talking about. Like if I have that and I'm transmissible to someone else, well, you got the vaccine, so you should be safe. I don't need to get a vaccine to keep you safe, you know, especially like when people don't take care of their own health. You know what I mean? If you're not willing to do the things that you need to do to be healthier, I shouldn't have to inject my body forcefully with other things to protect other people that aren't doing what they can naturally to take care of themselves.
Yeah. Very well said, Joe. You're speaking like a true politician.
I vote for you, Joe.
Yeah. Get that Biden guy out of here. Nathan Ware, again, he's saying, I believe vaccines throughout history have done more good than bad. For sure. You know, that's definitely an opinion that a lot of people adopt as well. We have Wajid Dauda. Anyone tell me why they are making those who have decided not to take the vaccine awful, knowing that the vaccines are experimental? And that's my another point too. I think we touched upon that earlier as well. You know, people who are deciding not to take the vaccine seem to be demonized. Like they themselves are COVID, or they themselves are the plague, and it's just
are the reason that it's keeps going on.
Right, you know, and that's not right either, right? Everyone is entitled to make, like, it comes back to what you were saying, Joe. Everyone has a right and an obligation and a responsibility to protect themselves. Do what you need to do for yourself and for your health to make yourself feel well. And if you feel like not taking the vaccine is what's in your best interest, you should be able to do that, and no one should be able to tell you any different. If you feel like you want to take the vaccine, and that's what's going to make you the most healthy, then take it. If you want to take AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna, whatever you want to take, if that's your brand of choice, you take it if that's what makes you feel safe. Hopefully everyone's doing the due diligence to be informed on the decisions that they make.
All right, but what I don't understand, all right, say, it's funny, again, it's so contradictory every step of this COVID discussion we have. See how contradicting it is. For example, now majority of the vaccine that are out, children under 13 apparently can't take. Most of them that were on the government website, the AstraZeneca and the Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and all of them. Kids can't take it. So if this thing was so severe, you're gonna tell me now you guys would actually have the future of the so-called world being vulnerable then, and telling me that you guys are pushing something for the adults, you know what I mean, who are closer to death, just saying. And if the kids are more perishable, you should actually find something that the kids can actually take too. So that's a contradicting part. So yes, but yet still just tell the kid to go outside with masks, you know what I mean? So how them expect us to believe that, okay then, if my kid can't take it just like a medicine, why should I take it then?
Listen, I think the children are the ones who have suffered throughout this whole process. They're the ones that had their sporting events canceled. They're the ones that had their school canceled. They're the one that had to adjust and do the online learning. They're the ones that weren't allowed to play for recess. They're the ones that weren't able to go see their friends or their family. You know, the young children, I think, are the ones that got affected the most. And it will be very interesting to see the long-lasting effects that come out of this for them. You know, I think they already were a little antisocial with all, you know, the screen time and the social media and stuff like that. So now when these screens are forced on them, that now you got to do this 8 hours out of the day for your schooling. Like I'm really concerned about their social well-being when this is done. So hopefully now that, you know, things are opening up, hopefully they're able to get out and ride their bikes and
the fourth wave comes.
But to be honest, at the end of the day, you have to look on good things too, because this delay or this pandemic also let your kid have an extra year of innocence, you know what I mean? Instead of going around different kids and picking up dirty habits, it kind of make the kid stay at home and have more control. This is an opportunity now where parents can more instill their influence on a kid. You know, you have to try and pick good things out of a bad situation. You know what I mean? So, but being at home with your youth, yeah, the fun part gone where they probably can socialize with a kid at school, but maybe on a community wise now, the kid around the block, you know, you can say, okay, you can play on the block with that kid, or so to speak. But mommy and daddy have this opportunity now to realize and to appreciate what the teacher does. So when the world come back to normal, then we go to the school more often, correspond with the teacher, see what's up. How is my kid doing? Because we get a chance to see how my kid learn, how my kid perform, how does it behave. Yeah, it's hard on the computer, but there's a lot of good things that we can take from a personal standpoint to see how our kid behave, and 1 year less of influence from outsiders.
Yeah.
So listen, I know a lot of parents who enjoyed their children for the first 2 months of this pandemic, and then after that, it wasn't great for them to be in the house with each other. And secondly, Andre, Father's Day just passed on Sunday. And I want you to know that I try to raise my child really well. So he wasn't going to be going and hanging out with the riffraff anyhow. Pandemic or no pandemic. I just want to let you know I try to be a responsible parent.
Yeah, but you're not in the classroom though. I remember say you forget to go to school. So me remember I was in school and I can't convert, but in that time I'm disrupting the teacher session, the class session. So your son in the class just see Andre being disruptive, like, yo, that's school. So you're not there. So I'm saying be grateful that the pandemic is there and you get a chance to enjoy your son one extra year in a sense.
Hey, that's cool. I just don't want you to ever question my parenting abilities ever again.
No, my yours.
Wow. Joke me, I met man. A joke me, I met man. Relax now.
You don't move like COVID.
Listen, we had a whole bunch of comments in the session. I'm gonna try to get to all of them. Tyrone Boz up in here saying, "Peace, family. Thank you for the discussion. Do you think we are heading in the direction where you may lose your job if you don't take the vaccine?" You know, I would really hope no, and I'll throw this out to everyone else. But at the same time, because employers do have the ability to create certain mandates, it's a really realistic possibility. Joe, Andre, Kimmy, anything you want to say?
Not only that, look at the bill that Joe just shared on his thing that was passed at 1:30 in the morning. Like there's so much stuff going on underneath the scenes, like behind the scenes that we're not aware of. Like, yeah, there's some people that are paying attention, but I don't think general society is paying attention because look at the state we're at. We are living like the changes of these laws being made like all the time. You know what I mean? And I think that 100%, man, if you don't have it, I think it is going to be a reason to be terminated eventually. You don't want to get with the program? I'm sorry, you got to go, you know?
I think that's your way out of the matrix. I think it's time for people to learn how to grow their own food, learn how to barter again, learn how to, be more, work on the homestead. It's hard. You can't do that in the city. Like you need to move outside of the city and go back to the country. But I think that it depends where this goes. Like if people can lose their jobs and will start to lose their jobs, movies the past.
Yeah, SCB's up here as well saying that I think you will lose your job. I heard many offices require vaccinations if you want to return to work, especially if you're trying to return to work on site. Luke Hemke is saying a friend of mine works with a coroner and asked him if someone has a head-on collision and dies from the crash, but was tested with COVID, is that a COVID death? Coroner said yes. That's how we report it. So again, there's been a lot of conversation about numbers being skewed and people having underlying concerns, but the fatality is being attributed to COVID-19. Tyrone Bob back in here as well saying, do you see any link with the movies of the past and present about the so-called pandemic, meaning it made it easier, harder to accept what the government is saying? I've always said that. I've always said, art imitates life, and life and art are just very, very narrowly separated, So have we been prepared for these pandemics? Have we been prepared for these? Look at all the zombie movies, right? So I think this has been in our psyche for a very long time. Anybody want to make any comments on any comment that somebody had in the chat? We thank everyone for just joining the chat tonight. Keep the comments coming in. We appreciate all of your sentiments. We appreciate all of your contributions. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Yeah. You can't trust the numbers. You can't trust what's going on because we're just not being open and truthful with everything. Like for me, if I was a politician and I had to follow someone's directive, I'd be like, this is what we're doing. This is why I'm doing it because Kimmy said this and she's the doctor. And this is where we're following. Where does Kimmy get her information? Kimmy gets it from Ren. And this is where that Ren gets his information from Andre. So let's show the paper trail where we're making the decisions. If we make a mistake, we're doing it to save human Earth, life on the planet. No problem. We made a mistake. This vaccine's wrong. We're sorry. Let's move on and get the right vaccine. Let's move on from the pandemic because we were wrong. We got it wrong. But if it ever happens again, we know that Costco has the lineups ready to hold us down. You know what I mean? Like, we're not working as a unit. We're working as separate entities trying to get through this, and it's not going to work.
It's a rat race.
Yeah, but then it goes back to the whole chicken and egg theory, right? So now we've ordered thousands, hundreds of thousands of vaccines that are no longer good. Spent millions of dollars. So you just throw those in the garbage?
Yes.
Try to find a way to salvage them.
Get rid of them, man. They don't work. I'm not saying they don't work, but I'm saying if they don't work, they got to go. If your shoes are too small, you don't keep buying the same size.
I don't know about y'all, but I squeezed my toes in some small shoes growing up, man. And I was forced to just continue on them because I got two pairs a year.
But not if your legs are going to be twitching and you can't walk anymore.
Twitch.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Andre, it looked like you were trying to say something, brother.
No, yeah, that's about the 100,000 being put back on the shelf. But it's so funny, if 100,000 from a particular brand was a problem, what about the previous one that you guys actually inject into people?
Right.
What happened to that? Like, what if that person have a sickness though, and then you guys gonna say it wasn't the COVID related, it wasn't the vaccine related, or you know what I mean? Or was it approved? So the same approval that it reached, say for example it was Pfizer, reach, or the same person approved the Johnson & Johnson, know that, you know what I mean? It's the same border patrol. So if I get across the border, that means someone at the border is being, or you put is messing up or something. But I don't know, man. It's funny, and people still want to take the second shot, the third shot.
Yo, you know, Cheryl Archer has a great, almost, well, our time is here, but has almost a great closing point. And she's saying, when the dust settles here, we will have a bigger issue. Oh my, the mental problems will be phenomenal. And that is so true. Everyone needs to take care of your mental health in this time. Things are upside down, inside out, left and right. So take care of your mind. Speak out to people. Reach out to people. Don't just wait to be called. Call somebody, you know, reach out to them and see if you can add some type of support or some type of normalcy or just some type of comfort in their lives. Because when this is done, at the end of the day, that's when we're really in this together, vaccinated, non-vaccinated, traveling passport, non-traveling passport, job, no job. The mental issues are going to be here, and we're going to have to interact with each other because we share the same air. Any closing words, Kimmy, Andre, Joe?
Yeah, just ladies first. Go ahead.
Well, I love this discussion. I thought it was hot, juicy, and quenched me very well.
Like a Gatorade commercial.
Electrolyte.
We need some sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, no, I love what you guys are saying about taking care of your mental health. It is really important. Unplug from the internet and all them juicy streaming shows. Like, I don't know why we didn't get into those things. We need to get on streaming. Is this streaming? I don't even know what streaming means, really. But anyways, there's so much out there that is very distracting, and I think it's important to unplug, zen, you know what I mean? Take a minute, fill yourself up with your fabulosity, and just keep on living every day. Like,
so your tip for everyone before we leave is fill yourself up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fill, whichever.
You say feel or fill?
A little bit of both.
Whoa. Saved and unashamed.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and just want to thank for another show. It was a nice little chat with the family, and since we meet up this week, see each other actually in person, make this chat this time more easier. We kind of see each other in person, you know. So that was a little nice vibe too, and this week, grateful for that. But overall, with the chat tonight, we just want everyone to know that at the end of the day, it's all about being self-aware and self-educating and trying to do as much research as you can. And as Ren said earlier, if you go on the website, you see the ingredients, you dig deeper and find out what that ingredient is. Find out what the ingredient is used for. So just try and dig deeper before you make any any final decision when it comes to the vaccine. See what best for your family, and just roll it out if you can. Also do your research, like look up on previous vaccine in the initial stage, like in the 40s, 50s, and see what the side effect happened, what year. Sometimes the side effect may have happened 10 years long, later 5 years. So just try and inform yourself as much as possible when it comes to vaccine in general, not just the new ones now, but others before and how them react. So yeah, man, stay up everyone, and join the chat next time. Good night.
Yeah, I got something to say before we leave. No matter what side of the fence you're on,
Wash your chicken.
wash your chicken with lemon.
Yes.
Okay? Don't boil your chicken. Okay? Don't do that. Okay? Wash your chicken.
Vinegar.
Yeah, and vinegar, of course.
Yeah.
Spice it up,
Yes.
not salt and
Some
pepper.
kind of an acid. You have to
Right.
kill out the bacteria.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, and you
Like I
know
do.
what else too? Big up to everybody in the chat. What a great conversation.
True, man. That's true. Them busy
Juicy.
tonight. They get active.
Yeah, man, I
They're
want to pick
active.
up Wajid. You said your grandmother lived 100 years old with no vaccines. Hey, big up grandmama. 100 years,
Yes.
century. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people ain't seeing that right now. Tyrone Ba again said, what happened to our testicular fortitude? How we just sit here and let the government dictate what we put in our body like they have our best interest at heart? Question mark, question mark. And then he thanked us, and thanked all the guys and the gal for all of the energy here tonight. I want to just do a shameless plug. Tyrone has a book available on Amazon called The Proper Way of Interacting with the Police.
Looks right here.
Go
Right
on
here.
Yeah, show it.
Check the
show it.
book.
Show it.
Wow.
Wow.
So get that book. It's available on Amazon right now. The Proper Way of Interacting with Police. We're here on Join the Chat. So once again, now that you have joined the chat, keep the conversation going with all of those around you. Always know your voice matters. Hear your voice. Be open to have honest conversation. This is the place where every single voice matters, where your opinions are important. We try to provide an open and free space to speak and also to be heard. So this is Join the Chat. Join us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Keep the conversation going. I am Renford, Mr. Bojangles. On behalf of Joe, Kimmy, Andre, Ruth, Ghislaine, we are Join the Chat. Until we see you next time. One love, y'all. Stay safe. Keep the mental health in check. Do whatever you
Desiree.
guys do. And make sure you get
That's
out.
not Desiree.
Yeah, it's Desiree. Desiree. say
Wow.
hi.
Hi, Mama.
Desiree.